All right, man. What's good, YouTube? Your boy is back, Bilo the Investor. We're back. We started season 2 of the OTC podcast last night, 6 p.m. Thank you to everybody that was there live. Thank you for everybody that was in the chat, everybody that came and asked a lot of questions. We back, man. So go over there to Over the Counter Media. Follow us on YouTube. Tune into that podcast. I'm pretty sure we're going to be coming to you guys every Sunday, either live or pre-recorded. Just depends. But that's where we at, man. Go follow that. Also, we back, man. Let's get into it. Last night on the pod, man, we talked about earnings. As you know, we're in earnings season. And two specific companies that I talked about last night on the podcast, which is Hims and Palantir. They had earnings today after the bell, and we had some interesting results. So that's what we're gonna get into. Then we're gonna look at the charts, see how market reacted to it, see how price reacted, go over the charts, kind of tell you a little bit about what you can expect, and see immediate price reaction. So let's get into it. So Hims, for those of you that don't know what Hims is, it's pretty much a um, health company. They have various different products from erectile dysfunction to skincare to GLP-1s, oral and injectables. They also have don't really matter. you know, that's Hims. They have a bunch of different medications, supplements, vitamins, all that kind of stuff, men and women. That's them. And they had earnings today. They had earnings today, and spoiler alert, they did not beat. When I say they didn't beat across the board. And when we're talking about earnings, we're looking at things like EPS, which is a pretty much a measure of a company's profitability. The higher the EPS, earnings per share, represents a company that is more profitable. Lower EPS, vice versa. It's just pretty much just representing how much money a company makes um, per share. And if you want to get into the technicals, how do you find earnings per share? It's pretty much just net income minus preferred dividends divided by the outstanding common shares, and that's how you get EPS. So let's get into their numbers. Let's get into the results, and then we'll look at these charts real quick. So Hims Q3 earnings estimates on sales was 580 million. Their sales came in at 599 million. So that was a beat. That was good there. Their sales increased. EPS estimates was 10 cents. They came in at 6 cents. So they had a miss there. They missed by 4 cents. Their EBITDA was estimated to be 68 million. They came in at 78 million, so that is good. Their gross margins were estimated to be at 76%. Their gross margin slipped a little down to 74%, so there was another miss there. And their subscriber count increased 21% quarter over quarter, 2.47 million. So that is good. They also gave guidance in the Q4. The street had it their sales guidance is 630 million. They missed on that a little bit as well as far as Q4 guidance. They came in at $615 million guided for Q4, which was $15 million less than the street had it at. And their EBITDA, the street had them at 77 million, and they matched that guidance at 77 million. And then, you know, that was that. That was that, man. They had some misses. They had some misses in there. And this is a company that I thought about. I thought about playing their earnings, taking a put to the downside, but I didn't, because it was just one of those companies. I don't know which way it was gonna go, so I didn't play it. But let's look at this chart real quick. I like to mark out my zones, so we'll just start there. I like to mark out my zones, and as you can see, I like to start with the monthly. I mark out my previous month high, my previous month low. Down here, you can see this was October, the month of October. We started a new monthly candle today. So as you can see, technically, we are in a 2-2 continuation to the downside. Are we? Uh, no, we really. Yeah, I wouldn't call that a continuation. We haven't really broke that previous month low, or previous week low. So almost there. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like in the morning. But I like to mark those levels. That they see that kind of gives me an idea. It shows me, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm still technically trading within the range of the previous month. So as of right now, we haven't broken below that previous month low. So that's an okay sign. So we go to the week. I also mark my previous week high. My previous week low is also my previous month low. Then I come to the daily, and then my previous day high, my previous day low. I have to update these tomorrow, but as you can see, we broke below the previous day low. Price tried to push above the previous day high. Um, didn't work. We had a little bit of rejection there. But as you can see, we're still within that previous week range, previous week high, previous week low. We didn't break above the previous day high. So, that just gives you an idea of kind of where we're at as far as that. So, if we look at the hourly, we see price pretty much just traded in between the previous day high and previous day low. We broke down a little bit below the previous day low, going into end of day. And then we had earnings come out, and surprisingly, price pushed up a little bit. And now we're kind of just starting to range and move sideways. Let me see what price is doing after hours and after hours market. Price is currently up 5.72%, $2.54 at $46.93 in after hours. So that's where we are in after hours. But I was surprised to see the stock push up a little bit, even with, a couple of misses in earnings. But this is why sometimes I'm hesitant to play earnings because, it's a wild card. Sometimes you'll get a company like SoFi who beats, and then, the immediate market reaction is lackluster. Then you'll get a company like a Tesla who doesn't beat and they'll still run crazy. You'll get a situation like this where they have some misses, price still runs up. Um, so you just never really know what the market. Just never really know what the market. So I didn't play him's earnings. But tomorrow, looking at this chart, technically, we're still just in a big range, trading in between the previous day high and low currently. Price tried to break above that previous day high. You see these wicks here, but, you know, sellers push this back down. So as of right now, we're back trading inside of that range of the previous day high and previous day low. So tomorrow, I expect us to, as of right now, potentially range in this same little zone. We could potentially range in this same little zone. We have a big resistance block up here, so we'll see. And then, if we look out, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I expect it to range a little bit. We'll see in pre-market tomorrow what happens. We'll see in pre-market tomorrow what happens. So let's look at Palantir. All right. We'll go. I pretty much do the same thing. I got my zones marked out. And then I'll just show you something here. Palantir's chart is crazy. Day chart is crazy. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. That's insane. They just been going up and up and up, gapping up. If you come to the daily, look at them gap ups. Look at them gap ups on the daily chart. I was thinking, man, price gotta be getting close to exhaustion on this, man. We super overextended. But, Palantir is continuing to push higher. They continue to push higher. Let's go over their earnings real quick. Let's go over their earnings numbers. Palantir actually did great today. They smashed earnings. So sales, the street had them at 1.9 billion. They came in at 1.18 billion, so that was a beat there. EPS estimates was 17 cents. They came in at 21 cents, so they beat their US commercial revenue increased 121% year over year, up 397 million. Their Q4 guidance came in above the street's estimate of 1.18 billion at 1.33 billion. Their operating profits came in higher than the street had them estimated for Q4 as well. Q4, the street had them at 575 million. They came in at 697 million, guided for Q4, and Palantir went crazy. Palantir absolutely smashed earnings. Their numbers came in amazing, and you see it reflected in what the price did you know, following earnings. So what did Palantir do today? Palantir kind of, just start here. So price open around here. So they kind of just, slow grinded up a little bit, kind of moved a little sideways, came into earnings. You see, we push up at earnings, come back down. I think we peaked at what's that, almost 222. And so far we've come down, since the immediate reaction to earnings. So it looks like we're coming back down. Dang, it looks like they're about to break previous day low. So let me see what they doing after hours. Let me see what they doing after hours. PLTR. Oh man, Palantir is down 4.2% in after hours, currently down $8.32, sitting at 198.86. So yeah, that's strange. See, this what I be talking about earnings. This what I be talking about earnings. You got hymns. Let's just go back. You got hymns who had misses on their earnings. They had misses. They had misses. Look at hymns. Shot up and they still holding pretty well. And they're even higher than this in the after hours. And then you come back to Palantir, they smash earnings, try to push up a little bit. They push up a little bit. Sellers wasn't having it. That's why, like I said before, they're extremely overextended. They got a lot of gap ups. Price got to be exhausted. And that's one of the reasons I didn't play these earnings as well. I'm playing AMD earnings tomorrow, spoiler alert. But sellers wasn't having it. They pushed down, and then you see Palantir start to move lower. And this is what I be saying about earnings because, if you play Palantir earnings, they beat immediate reaction. You like, it's lit. It's lit, man. I'm finna wake up in the morning. We're finna be in the money. No, sellers wasn't having it, push you down. Now you wake up and now you cook. You in the red. Down almost $10. That's what I be saying, man. Earnings is crazy. Earnings is crazy. That's why whenever you play earnings, you're taking a very, very, very big risk. You can look at the implied volatility and see the implied move to the upside or the downside. But at the end of the day, you don't really know what the market is going to go for or not go for. You don't know how they're going to react to certain information, certain guidance. You just don't know. You just don't know. And in Palantir's case, this is what I was afraid of. I didn't really know how much higher they could go since they had moved up so much off the Nvidia partnership and just all the momentum they had going into earnings. So I knew they were going to have to really come crazy if they wanted another ridiculous push up. And that kind of got me scared going into AMD and Nvidia's earnings as well. I ain't going to lie. I have a position open on AMD that's currently up pretty good right now. I got a position on Nvidia that's up crazy going into their earnings next week. So I see, man. I might have to cut those before earnings because stuff like this scares me. Kind of shows me what I could be in store for. Because Nvidia and AMD both have pushed up crazy going into their earnings as well, just like Palantir did. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But as far as uh, yeah, that's crazy. So tomorrow, what could happen tomorrow? Tomorrow we could potentially get because prices starting to come back down and break down into that previous day low. So if you come here to the daily, go back to that one more time because it's not reflecting. It's not going to reflect on these bigger time frames. We're at 198.36. So on here, we're down here now. We're down here now. 198.36. We down in this level, close to this previous day low. So tomorrow, we'll probably come back down if in the morning if it continues to drop. You could see us come back down anywhere from where it's at right now at that 198, anywhere down to 190. And I think we could come down and either wick at this support, and then kind of just range in this zone. I don't really see them dropping below this unless you just get a crazy sell off. And then you could probably come back and down into this gap. But we'll see. I expect them to hold this support and probably just trade sideways for a little bit. But we'll see in the morning. We'll see in the morning. But yeah, man, those are the two earnings that I was looking at today after hours. And it was just crazy to see, man, because you had one company smash earnings and you see the reaction that you get. You seen the reaction that you get. You see price initially try to push up and then come down, move down big actually from where it peaked at. I mean, you peaked at almost $222. Now you're down at like 196. That's crazy. Versus Hims, who had several misses, didn't have nearly as good a guidance as Palantir, and they run up crazy. Of course, they run into this big resistance zone here. They reject heavy. Sellers push them down, but they still hold a lot of those gains pretty well. You see, they tried to come down a little bit, it bounced off VWAP, but they holding the gains pretty well. They holding the gains pretty well, and price is actually a little bit higher in after hours market. So that's what it is. That's what it is. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. Tomorrow we got AMD. Tomorrow we got AMD. I think AMD is also after the bell. They have an implied volatility of about 9.1%. So we'll see what happens with AMD. I do have a position open on them. See if I close it up, man. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. I'll let y'all know tomorrow. We'll go over the earnings and I'll tell you, what happened with my position. If I got out, if I stayed in and played earnings, what happened with that. We'll look at the charts and see what's going on. Let me take a look at this because I also played a position on a stock that had a huge announcement today, Amazon. I took puts. I took a put on Amazon. Took a put on Amazon. You see they had their open AI deal and they shot up. They went crazy. They had just shot up and went crazy. The following week from earnings, I was also in the Amazon play going into earnings, and I was able to take advantage of all of this. Was able to take advantage of all of that. So they traded sideways, 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 dropped a little bit, and then we got the OpenAI partnership announcement today, and they shot up again. And I took puts here, took puts here. And now we're here. I leveraged almost $12,000 in puts. So I think that was about like 40 contracts. About 40 contracts. So I took puts here. And yeah, it's looking okay right now. It's looking okay right now. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully we can continue to get some more downside. Um, at least fill this gap and break below it. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. So about a price of about two. We'll see. If I can get outside of this box, that'd be cool. But if not, I'll settle for about 250, 245. We'll see. We'll see in the morning. We'll see how much volume is to the downside. Hopefully it don't push up. We'll see. I'll let y'all know about that tomorrow too. But that's what I got going on. But yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Be safe. If you play Palantir earnings, I hate that for you. If you play Him's earnings, you know, if you took puts, you should have got your way, but the market had other plans. So for those of you that took Him's calls, congratulations. For those of you that took Palantir puts, congratulations, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all.